Alright, hello everyone. Tis I, driving as per usual. Realize that I can't do a lot of my thinking unless I'm driving because I need to distract all of these loose thoughts out of my mind so that I can actually focus on something better. So what I'm describing is actually my reactive NE, and I say reactive because it's the air I breathe, but it's also I would say very difficult to deal with at times. A lot of folks I see who manage to keep it good. I don't know how you guys do it. With me, it's very like it's just anything I look at bursts into possibilities. So I don't really know what it is I'm supposed to be focusing on. So in order to make do with what I have, I gotta overdo the distractions to the point where the NE is exhausted, so I can finally think about something that's actually, focus and what's right, or what's right in front of my face. And that takes effort, takes time, and that's kind of what I want to discuss right now is living with NE. What is that like? Oh, look, it's a sunset. Not yet, that is. It's bright. It's still a little bright outside. Again, you see, my mind just going around, seeing completely outside. And my thought was, what is it like living with NE? What is it like living with NE? I would say it's, for the most part, exciting. For the most part, there's an enthusiasm involved in it. And I think that's part of the package. Living with NE, especially as a dominant, is I never knew what it was like to be focused. I never knew what it was like to feel not scatterbrained, because in a sense I am the embodiment of everything happening at the same time at once. And unlike an SE, I would say, and I remember the conversation, or like a comment section with Susan's husband, Daniel, who's an ESTP, and I had to explain that SE and NE being me, like for me having NE, it's we do operate on similar sentiments, where with me I can't not stop like seeking out this chaos and distraction. And chaos, I guess, is probably a loosely described term, because it's not that I cause chaos necessarily, but the phenomena that happens to me as an NE Dom is considered by other people's standards as chaotic. So being able to see bursts of possibilities from every object you see, it's, and connecting one to another, and having this massive storage of your SI in the background going like, okay, so taking notes. Oh, that makes sense with that makes sense with this, that connects with this. Ooh, graveyard. Yes, I just drove by a graveyard. It's really, really nice, actually. It's not bad. I don't mean to sound emo, but I do like them because they're really quiet, like they're really chill. Like it's the best place to, if you want to just be like, ooh, chillax. Like that's the place. That's the place you look at. And so back to living with NE, it can be annoying and very irritating to other people. One of my friends is an ISTP, and he and I are what considered in, I believe, interpersonal dynamics and socionics as conflictors. And that's because a lot of our wavelengths kind of go right over their head. He has dominant TI and I have dominant NE, which both of that is equal to both of our polars. So I'm polar TI and he's polar NE. So when I flare out, he's not gonna get it. And when he flares out, I'm gonna be like, what? Like, what you talking about? And it's usually been like that for quite some time. And I've been wondering about it too. I'm going, how come I can't fully get it? Like I can't fully understand where he's coming from. But we're really good friends. Like we're really cool. But I'm just thinking, and I realized, it's probably because there's something about his functions and my functions that just aren't meeting together. And that could be very interesting. Like that could actually be something I'm like, wow. I don't even know how did I get to that point? See, so you guys get to see also freaking real life in real time living with NE. you talk about one tangent, you realize, wait a minute, I'm supposed to be talking about the tangent that was supposed to be, but I'll just connect it to this tangent anyway because life is all about connecting. Yay. It's also, I would say, one of the most fascinating aspects of color in my life, because without any, I don't know what I'd be. And it's funny to say, because like I have no other experiences to draw from but from myself, just from my own views and my own like my own kind of experience, like from my own experiences and all that stuff. A lot of whenever I read comments like, if you were to be any other type, what would you be? And I'd be like, I can't answer that question, because I probably used to be, because I used to have a full-on teenager moment where I hate myself and I want to be something else because life's hard. And the thing is, the truth is, life is hard. For NFPs in general, the world is not for us. Reality is not good to us, and that's a thing. And especially for us NF guys, like that's a price we have to spend on. We have to drop our money and put up a guard, because reality is not as forgiving as our minds are. And with any as in the forefront, it's not going to be easy. If not, we tend to overcomplicate a lot of things as well. But at the same time, looking into the whole thing again, having any is always finding like a fresh pair of eyes for everything constantly. And it's quite an experience for anyone who's willing to, or who's curious as to what that manifests as. As an ENFP, my energies are wild and erratic, but at the same time, there's comfort in because the erraticism of it all. And I think that's where the SI kicks in with me. It's like there is a comfort in knowing I don't have all the answers. There's a comfort in knowing that there's always something else out there. And it's something that I have grown accustomed to and grown to appreciate over time. Because unlike NI, which I don't have as a valued function, I can't just look into the future and be like, oh, it's gonna get better. I go by quantity more so than one singular focal point. So if I can dream up at least 1,000 futures, I might be okay. Like, I must be doing something good. But if I only see maybe 10, I'll be like, not that great. I start weighing pros and cons. I start weighing values versus unvalues, usually whenever things like that happen. So because of how expansive and how scattered it is, it kind of serves as an interesting compass, because now as a person, you start to measure a lot of things by how much you have to use your NE. Well, not use it, but how much you have to exercise it in situations. Like with me, it's a lot of, I don't mind an idea remaining an idea. That's okay by me. Like, it's fine. But at the same time, it's more about, if I'm seeking answers, it's more about how many ideas or answers or questions can I muster to wrap my head around an object. And I think the more I can draw from it, the more interesting an object is, and the more interesting concepts are to me, if there is more to it as that. In a different model of socionics, there's also like a considered like NE minus, which is the always looking for an alternative to that one concept, because you find that there's potential hidden in it. And that's, I believe, is really true with me. I always seek out what is the potential and what is constantly what's behind the curtain. And it's kind of ironic, because a lot of how I operate is also behind the curtain. Like, I prefer to be the kind of guy that, like, I don't mind the spotlight, mind you, like, I don't mind getting up there, but at the same time, I also don't really value it as much. Like, it's not my go-to strategy, even though I can definitely deal with it just fine. I think I operate better. A couple friends were like, you're like the Wizard of Oz, you're behind the curtain a lot of the times, everything you send out is an illusion. And I'd be like, seems pretty accurate. A lot of my wishes a lot of my wish grants are not actually solutions. Well, they're not permanent solutions. They're conceptual solutions. They're lessons to take with you as you move about your daily business in life. And I think that's the one that fits me the most. And I would say, sure, yeah. But it's, it's not something that's common. Actually, I don't even know what I'm saying. I'm just saying that it's interesting, it's fascinating, it's not, it's all that in a bag of chips. But it's, living with any is both exciting, annoying, but at the same time, I would say it's basically the same as any other type, basically as any other dominant function that you're living with. I have to say though that with me it was so tough growing up, realizing that I didn't think like everybody else, realizing that the biggest part of my struggle was was that I felt that I was wrong all the time, because how come I always see possibilities and no one else can? And like, how come I can always see alternatives and no one else can? Mind you, a lot of the people in my life happens to be like SJs, SPs, those kinds of types. So it's not necessarily the type that you, I guess, look at when you want to learn about intuition, because to them it's more low stack for them. But I would say that growing up, knowing that Annie has been with me all this time is kind of interesting, because I don't wish it on even on my worst enemy. Like, I really don't. I think if you've never had any ever in your life, and you've been gifted, or cursed that is, with a little peace of mind, I think it's gonna be a little overwhelming, because the person's not accustomed or used to looking around and having their eyes darting constantly, having their eyes or their attention being pulled apart by every object that you see. And the only way you can get past it is if you notice it. You have to notice each and every possibility. Every possibility that is introduced has to be considered and then dismissed if it doesn't work out. Which, thank goodness for the other functions, because if I didn't have anything else, it would just be dismissing, or there would be zero dismissing, and it would just be a lot of, I'm gonna be stuck. But anyways, that's a little bit of that. I arrived at my destination. I'm also incredibly hungry. So till next time, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed my little snippet there, and see what's up. Let's see what else we have in store for, I guess, next time. See ya.